After a disagreement with her male best friend, she pulled me aside and said, "You need to apologize to him or we're finished." I just stared at her, shocked. Then she added, "He was here before you. And he means more than you." He didn't argue. I walked out, got in my truck, and drove away. 3 days later, she showed up outside my apartment in tears, begging me to forgive her. I'm not much of a writer, so bear with me. I never imagined I'd share something like this, but the experience has left me questioning, so I could really use an outside perspective. I'm a 43-year-old general contractor, divorced for 6 years with a teenage daughter who lives with her mom. I've been dating Allison, a 39-year-old woman, for just over a year. We met while I was renovating the coffee shop she manages. The usual story. She offered me coffee, we talked during my breaks, and eventually I asked her out. We clicked instantly, same humor, same love for the doors. Both of us had been married before. Neither of us wanted to rush into something heavy again. Things felt easy, but never boring, or so I thought. And there's Kevin, her closest friend since college. They dated briefly as sophomores, but decided friendship worked better. He's been in her life ever since. He was the man of honor at her wedding, stood by her through her divorce, and she openly admits he's part of her foundation. Over the past year, I've seen him often. Game nights, barbecues, gatherings. He was always polite, never outwardly rude, but kept a distance, like he was constantly weighing me. I tried building a bridge, but he never reached back, keeping it surface level. Everything boiled over last weekend when Allison hosted a dinner. I arrived early to help. Kevin was already there, settled in her kitchen like it was his, mixing drinks and advising her on food. I let it slide. No big deal. Dinner was great. Good food. Good energy. Afterward, we all sat on the someone mentioned politics, never a safe topic, and this time was no different. Kevin and I quickly saw our views didn't meet. Nothing extreme, just not aligned. It started civil, but each time I spoke, Kevin looked at Allison as if waiting for her to silence me. When she didn't, his tone sharpened, sarcastic. After a few condescending remarks, I said calmly, "Look, man, we can disagree without the attitude. We're adults here." His face flushed. He turned to Allison, snapping, "Are you going to let him talk to me like that?" Before she could respond, I said, "I'm speaking to you, not her." Masking for respect. Kevin stood, drink in hand, and shot back, "You don't know what you're talking about. You never have. Allison knows it too. She's just too kind to say it." I turned to her, waiting for her to ease the tension, maybe say something neutral. Instead, she looked at Kevin like he was fragile. "Kevin, he didn't mean it like that," she said softly. "I did mean it. I said we can disagree without being disrespectful. That was it." Kevin set his glass down, muttered, "I'm heading out. Call me later, Elle." Then he stormed out, slamming the door. Allison followed, and I heard them whispering inside. When she came back, she looked unsettled. He asked, "What was that about?" She brushed it off and tried to carry on for the guests. Once everyone left, I started cleaning. That's when she cornered me in the kitchen. "You need to apologize to Kevin," she said. Arms crossed. I nearly dropped the plates. "Excuse me," she said. "You embarrassed him. In front of everyone. You owe him an apology." I replied, "Allison, he was disrespectful. If anyone should apologize, it's him." She answered, "You don't get it. Kevin doesn't handle conflict well. He felt attacked." I said, "And I felt disrespected. Has it ever crossed your mind your best friend just doesn't like me?" she insisted. That wasn't true, though she couldn't meet my eyes. He's just protective, she added. Protective? I'm not a threat. Or grown. Why does he need to protect you from your own choices? She shifted uneasily. Look, it's simple. You need to apologize or we're done. I stared, struggling to process. You're giving me an ultimatum over your friend. Then came the blow that ended it. He was here before you, and he's more important than you. She didn't say it in anger, just plain as if it were obvious. I didn't shout. I didn't argue. I just looked at her, gave a small nod, grabbed my keys and walked out. She called after me, but I never turned back. By the time I got home, my phone was buzzing nonstop with messages. Asterisk, where did you go? We need to. You're overreacting. Asterisk, I shut it off and went to bed. Slept fine, actually. Calm in a strange way. The next morning, a dozen missed calls. More texts. Ignored them. Went to work. Focused on a job. Came home, watched the game. Ordered pizza. By day 3, the calls slowed. The texts grew less demanding. More emotional, more desperate. Wasn't ignoring her to punish her. I just needed time to think. That evening there was a knock at my door. Allison stood there, eyes red, clutching her purse like it was all she had. For a second I thought about staying silent, but I'm not a coward. I opened the door, though I didn't invite her in. Can I come in? She asked softly. Asterisk, I don't think that's a good idea. Asterisk, please, I need to explain. I stepped aside. She sank onto the couch, like it hurt to sit. The same couch, filled with good memories, yet now she looked like a stranger. I'm sorry, she. Asterisk, what I said was awful. I didn't mean it. Asterisk, you did, I answered. Asterisk, that's why it hurt, because you meant it. Asterisk, she started crying again. Asterisk, I've known him so long. He's like family. I can't lose him. Asterisk. Asterisk, I get that. But why does keeping him mean losing me? Why can't it be both? Asterisk. Can be, she insisted. Asterisk, I was upset. You and Kevin are the most important men in my life. Asterisk, I stayed in the armchair, keeping distance. Asterisk, no, I'm not. You made that clear. And that's okay. You're free to choose who matters most. But so am I. And I can't be with someone who treats me like second best. Asterisk, asterisk, you're not disposable. Asterisk, she whispered. Love you. Asterisk, do you? Or do you love the role I play when Kevin approves? Because the second I didn't, you were ready to let me go. Asterisk. She said nothing. Asterisk, has he always disliked me? Asterisk, I asked. Asterisk, or only since things got serious? Asterisk, she looked down. Asterisk, he's afraid you'll hurt me like my ex did. Asterisk, asterisk, so he made himself your gatekeeper and you let him. Isn't that what's happening? Asterisk, no. Answer. Asterisk, tell me honestly, has he ever liked anyone you dated? Asterisk, silence. Asterisk, I deserve more than this. And so do you. Real friend wouldn't make you choose. Real friend would be happy for you. Asterisk. Her tears came harder. She said they'd argued after I left, that it forced her to face things about their friendship that had bothered her for years. She said she wanted another chance. Part of me wanted to give in, to hold her, to say we'd fix it. But another part, the part that remembered how quickly she dismissed me, stood firm. I think we need space. I told her. Asterisk, I need to decide if I can be with someone who sees me as second. You need to decide if you're ready for a relationship where your choices aren't controlled by someone else's opinion. Asterisk. She left reluctantly, but not before, asking me to promise I'd think about it. That was 5 days ago. She's texted daily since. Nothing pushy, just check-ins. Her sister later told me Kevin's furious. Not just about the fight but because she dared to question the bond they've kept for years. Her sister admitted she's been warning Allison about Kevin's hold on her for ages. Said he doesn't want romance. But he doesn't want her with anyone else either. That this possessiveness has played out before. And here I am still thinking, still unsure. But one thing is certain, I won't settle for being anyone's afterthought. Not again. Not ever. What do you think? Can this be repaired, or is it broken beyond repair? Every boyfriend since college. Those words kept echoing in my mind. Part of me still loved her, wanted to believe we could make it. But another part knew how deep old habits run. She spent 20 years normalizing this strange dynamic. For now I'm taking it day by day, searching for clarity, reminding myself I'd rather be alone than be someone's backup plan. Things change, I'll share. Thanks to everyone who's followed this far. I was overwhelmed when I woke up to hundreds of comments. Your insight and support meant more than I can say. Clear a few things up. First, no, I don't believe Kevin and Allison were ever physical. This was never about sex. Was about control. Second, about the dinner party. Some thought I abandoned. Or I didn't. I left after everyone had gone once she made it obvious where her loyalties lay. I didn't make a scene or leave her stranded. Third, yes, looking back there were red flags I ignored. Kevin texted her constantly even when we were together, and she always answered immediately. He had opinions on everything, where we ate, whether I was right for her. He even crashed a weekend trip we planned, driving 2 hours just to insert himself. Fourth, some thought I was overreacting. Maybe, but I've already been in a relationship where I wasn't the priority. Took years of therapy after my marriage to understand my worth, and I won't let myself slip back into that. Fifth, to clarify, Allison and I never lived together. She had her own place cross town. That's why she showed up at my door instead of already being there. We'd discussed moving in someday but hadn't reached that step. 10 days later we met for coffee downtown, neutral ground. Allison looked worn down, but there was a different kind of resolve in her eyes. Spoke first, saying she'd been reflecting a lot and had started seeing her friendship with Kevin differently. After our fight, she noticed how he subtly controlled her choices, how he created drama whenever her focus shifted, how he pushed her to put him above everyone, even herself. She showed me texts he'd sent after the argument, guilt-tripping, manipulative, accusing her of throwing away 20 years for some contractor. Reading them made my stomach turn. It wasn't friendship. That was emotional blackmail. The most revealing moment was when she admitted Kevin had sabotaged every relationship she'd ever had. He'd even interfered in her marriage by sharing personal details with her ex, deliberately stirring conflict. And still she forgave him, always putting him first. Asterisk, I don't want to live like that anymore, asterisk, she said. She told me she'd already contacted a therapist and had an appointment lined up. I told her I was proud of her for recognizing it, but I had to protect myself too. We agreed to take things slow, no pressure, just time together while she worked on healing. Kevin, predictably, didn't handle it well. When guilt failed, he switched tactics, showing up at her office with flowers, playing the caring friend. Classic manipulator behavior. Allison stood firm. She told him she needed space and their friendship couldn't continue without major changes. A month later, things shifted further. Allison stuck with therapy, held her boundaries. Kevin escalated, swinging from love bombing to anger. The breaking point came when he showed up drunk at her apartment, shouting that I'd brainwashed her. She called the police and he was removed. The next day she filed a restraining order. It was painful but opening. She said it was like seeing the full picture after years of focusing on fragments. She began reconnecting with friends she'd lost under his influence. His possessiveness had slowly isolated her for years. As for us, we were dating again carefully. I even joined her for a therapy session to learn how to support her without crossing lines. Her therapist compared leaving a codependent friendship to escaping a cult. It takes patience and Meanwhile, Kevin tried turning mutual friends against her, but most saw through him, especially after the dinner party. Some even apologized for not speaking up sooner. Others still believed him, which was painful for Allison but revealing. At least now she knew who truly stood by her. Thankfully they didn't work together. When he began harassing her through work email, HR stepped in, blocked his domain, documented everything, and alerted security. I've been amazed at her strength. Breaking free from years of toxic control is no easy thing. Whatever happens between us, I'm grateful we both learned the value of boundaries and self-respect. To those who thought I should have apologized to keep the peace, this was never about one argument. It was about a deeper imbalance, her loyalty to someone toxic over the relationship we were building. Sometimes the only thing that exposes the truth is walking away. 6 months later, we're still together and stronger. Allison has stayed in therapy and uncovered other unhealthy patterns not just tied to Kevin. The restraining order expired, but he's mostly kept his distance. He tries to rewrite the past, painting himself as the victim, but most people don't buy it anymore. Those who saw what unfolded know the truth. Allison has apologized many times for her words and choices that night, but more importantly, her actions have changed. She's shown through consistency that she's committed to a healthier relationship, built on respect and boundaries. Next month we're moving in together, and this time it feels right, something it never would have before. We've disagreed since then, but now we handle it as partners, without interference. Someone once told me, you can't compete with history. They were right. But this was never about beating Kevin's past, it was about realizing that history isn't always worth preserving. Sometimes the longest bonds cause the deepest harm. Thank you to everyone who offered support through this. Standing your ground, knowing your worth, it's not just self-care. Sometimes it gives someone else the courage to do the same.